Cyberswood Music Optimistic here. Today I'm going to be adding another entry in my discography ranked series by ranking every Weezer album from the worst to the best in my opinion. So 15 albums, 4 EPs, and there's really not anything else to say. You know about Weezer, and if you know about Weezer, you either love Weezer or you think they're cringe as fuck and nerdy as shit and you're never gonna listen to them. Me personally, I kind of fell into that second opinion until I actually did this project and listened to their stuff. Now don't get me wrong, there's a good deal of material that they've put out that is borderline unlistenable, and that stuff obviously will fall towards the bottom of this list. But there's also some stuff that they've put out that is genuinely incredible peaks in rock music, that is genuinely some of the best stuff out there, the best stuff that you're ever going to hear in the genre. There's a lot of stuff in between. So yeah, I'm just going to hop right into it because there is a lot of material to cover. And yeah, bottom of the list, number 19. You are my baby. Their 2009 effort, Ratitude. Yeah, this one is almost universally ranked at the bottom, and I can't really argue with that. Trying to muster anything positive to say about this record, or really anything at all. There's a Lil Wayne feature. That exists. It's not one of the worst Wayne features I've ever heard, but the song being this gigantic electropop number about I can't stop partying. It does not fit Weezer's sound at all. And that's really the same thing with this entire album, is it's Weezer abandoning their alt-rock, grungy, emo-esque sound for this fucking extremely dated late 2000s electropop. Like, this album is pretty much Weezer trying to compete with acts like Tayo Cruz and Kesha. And not only is that a horrible combination in theory, but it's about 10 times worse in practice than you could ever imagine. I've heard people say that the intro track is fine, and I guess that it's not one of the worst things I've ever heard, but if this is the high point of the album, yeah, the album, it's not a very high point of an album. This album's fucking pee-pee, it's poo-poo, it's wee-wee, and it's doo-doo. Number 18, I gotta put the Black Album, which is kind of a weird spot in their discography, because the few records right before this are pretty much them making a comeback with Everything Will Be Alright in the End, Hurley, and then the White Album, which is mwah. But then for some reason, 2019 comes around, and they put out an album that is essentially Ratitude and Make Believe Part 2. Like, this thing is trying so hard to be so commercially friendly, and just has this high gloss finish just slathered all over it for no reason. Sure, the songs are structured all right, and the choruses are written to be technically okay, but for the most part, nothing here really sticks with me. Nothing here really feels like anything. The only thing that's really stuck with me is Die, Die, You Zombie Bastards. But yeah, other than that, looking at the track list, Byzantine, I guess, was an interesting attempt on their end for some like island yacht rock, but the production of it is so goddamn synthetic that no beer belly dad is ever gonna put this song on. Can't Knock the Hustle is them trying to do some hard rock and stuff, but again, it has this high gloss sheen over it that just does not work at all in my opinion. And yeah, that's literally all that I remember from this album. It's in one ear, out the other, trying to be as technically put together as together, but yeah, I don't fucking care. Next up, their 2008 album, Red. I've seen some people defend this album with saying, hey, it's not as bad as Ratitude or Make Believe or some of the other albums surrounding it, so we should give Red a little bit more room. But, this thing barely feels like a Weezer record, which, I mean, sure, if you don't really like Weezer, that's not a big deal, but for someone who actually fucks with the chunky, heavy, pop-punk-ish riffs or whatever they go for, and Weezer's boyish vocals, hearing other members of the band sing on like 4 tracks of this back to back to back to back, I was so fucking lost. Like, the first couple tracks in this thing are fine, and Pork and Beans is a pretty decent song, but I mean, after that, it just kind of goes downhill, and downhill, and downhill, and by the end of the record, I'm genuinely asking, how on earth is this a fucking Weezer album? And while disliking a record or disconnecting from a record, primarily because the vocalist is different from the others, different from other records, can seem like a stupid critique. People dip out on bands because the vocalist changes, so I don't know how it's different here. Like, no one else who tries singing on this record does as good of a job as Rivers himself does, and even him on this record, it sounds like he's just playing by the numbers anyway. So because we're getting a bargain bin version of Rivers Cuomo himself on this record, I end up not giving a single shit about the Red Album much at all. I mean, sure, it's not as bad as Ratitude, but I think Chance the Rapper's The Big Day is not as bad as Ratitude, and that's also one of the worst albums I've ever heard.
I can hear the eagles terrible scream. Run, Raven, run, Raven, run.
Personally, I was a little shocked that one of the newest projects, the Seasons EP Autumn, would be one of my least favorite coming out of this, but yeah, this thing is like not very good at all. Just like with a lot of Weezer's worst material, this is them trying to go very commercial, very pop, and Weezer is just not good at this sound, and I really wish they would stop doing this. Not that Weezer is the most out there band or anything, or that they only succeed in making wild, exotic music, because they're not. They make some pretty simple alt rock and power pop, and they're pretty fucking good in their simplicity. But whenever they try and hone these sounds to give them this fancy gloss, and then just shoot for the radio with these cheap ass choruses, horrible structures, and terrible ideas. And the first half of this EP is exactly that, just being beaten into you again and again and again. This was easily the worst part of their Four Seasons EPs project from 2022. And I guess one of the worst Weezer projects overall, because yeah, I do not fuck with this.
I'll be missing you like oxygen, surgeon.
Number 15, their 2017 record, Pacific Daydream. I got my timeline a little bit wrong with saying that the Black Album came after a couple of great albums. It's this one. This is the album that ruined their winning streak that they had been on for a little bit with Everything Will Be Alright in the End and the White Album. And while this isn't really the worst thing I've ever heard, I mean, it sounds fine for the most part. It's just kind of bland and forgettable. It does have that extremely high gloss finish that I don't like about Weezer. Like, not to beat a dead horse, this album is so overproduced, and a lot of it honestly sounds like Scaled and Icy era 21 Pilots. Like, obviously it's not a direct influence and they're not ripping it off, because Scaled and Icy wouldn't come out until 2021, and this record came out in 2017, and maybe it was an inverse inspiration thing, or maybe they're not even connected at all. It's just kind of a coincidence that they both sound like very generic and a clean-cut pop music. I can excuse Scaled and Icy because I really fuck with 21 Pilots. They're one of my favorite bands, period. Weezer, yeah, I don't have as much grace for. This album is just not very good. Next up, the 2001 record, Green, which, this may be a contentious placement. I'm not sure how people rank this one and the, overall hierarchy of Weezer's discography, but, having this come directly after their debut Blue album and Pinkerton, it's obviously a fucking step down in every way. Like, don't get me wrong, I know why they're returning back to basics here, because the Blue album kind of defined them as these pop perfectionists, and then the Pinkerton record really alienated a lot of fans at the time. I mean, it's gone on to become a cult classic, as people know, but I mean, at the time, it was really widely ridiculed. People did not like it. In fact, there are some things I don't like about it. Like, it's way too goddamn honest to the point of being, like, uncomfortable to listen to. But them taking a few years out of the limelight just to come back with, like, these very, very glossed up tunes that are just very by the numbers. Like, it's basically the Blue album, but if you turn the dial down, like, to halfway. Like, the sounds are not as risky as they are in the Blue album, and the songs are not as catchy. Like, I like Highland of the Sun, and Hash Pipe is alright, but I mean, that's pretty much all that I get from this record. It's just a very, very toned down, by the numbers release from Weezer, and I get basically nothing from it. Next up, their 2005 Fall from Grace, Make Believe. I know this one will be a contentious pick, being kind of near the middle of this list, but yeah, I don't really mind this one. Like, sure, I still don't think it's all that good, but it's also far from the worst thing Weezer has put out, and at least has a lot of interesting touches in the production. As much as people have shat on the intro track, Beverly Hills, for being very, very simple to the point of being almost like it's a song about filing your taxes, or at least feels like filing your taxes, I actually don't mind this song. I kind of like it. I love the chorus of Pardon Me. It has such a great fucking structure to it, and the way that the guitars and everything just hits on the Pardon Me, my friend. Boop, boop. I think that sounds genuinely great. And overall, the production being a lot more glossy and pristine here, this album being the first instance of that, I think that it is a kind of interesting take on this sound. Again, with it being kind of lower in this list, it's still a record I am not exactly enjoying. Like, I generally like the first half of this record, but We Are All on Drugs genuinely kills the momentum, and then everything from there is just kind of to kind of bad. Like, We Are All on Drugs, it's pretty bad. But yeah, as far as Weezer going extremely pop, I actually don't mind this record that much. Certainly far from their best material, but I mean, it's not as bad as Ratitude, so I don't know. Next up, 2019's Teal album, which is an album. I honestly don't know why we consider this one to be on the same echelon as the other Weezer albums. I guess because it's another self-titled, and because it's Weezer. I don't fucking know. Like, this album's fine. It's not one of the worst things I've ever heard. In fact, from here on out, I think the albums are okay. Because, I mean, yeah, just imagine the songs on this track list: Africa, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Take on Me, Paranoid, Blue Sky. All these songs literally sound the exact same as the original versions, but just kind of like someone's doing an open mic night at your local bar. Like, it's fine. I don't know. I don't really care. However, I have a friend who may care a little more.
Hey, my name is Lila. I'm a fictional character made up by Iris to break up the video, and here is my opinion on the Teal album. It sucks. It's fucking awful. It's arguably worse than Ratitude. There's not a single second of soul on this album. The absolute worst offenders, at least in my opinion, are Paranoid, Billie Jean, and Everybody Wants to Rule the World. The whole album just feels soulless, like it was made for a contractual obligation. It's not, it probably wasn't even. They probably just wanted to do covers, but they're not good at doing covers, apparently. I will say the absolute worst is definitely Billie Jean. It's comical. Genuinely comical how bad that track is. And I've never even heard the original Billie Jean. I just know I don't like the Weezer version of Billie Jean. Don't listen to the Teal album, listen to Everything Will Be Alright in the End instead, because that's the best one, and if Iris says anything different, she's wrong and a bitch. Okay.
I'm just gonna go kind of quickly through the next 3 slots because they're all the rest of the season's EPs. Like, when I was doing this project, I kind of thought about not covering these at all, but I was like, it wouldn't be fair. I need to cover the most latest recent EPs that Weezer has put out, which is the 2022 collection of EPs here, the Seasons quadrilogy. And yeah, I have pretty similar feelings about all of them aside from Autumn, which is bad and sucks. These EPs are all fine. I mean, it's pretty much Weezer doing their typical sound at this point, but like Spring is a little bit more acoustic, Summer is a little bit more heavy, kind of like Van Weezer, and then Winter is the best one out of the 3. I don't really know. These EPs don't really sound that much different from each other. The songs don't really feel that much different. It's just that on Winter, the songs feel a bit more human and personal. And genuinely, the first 3 tracks of Winter trump the rest of the EPs. No question. It's just that Winter eventually does fall into being kind of by the numbers and just alright by the end. Certainly not a bad EP series, especially if you cut Autumn out of it. This entire EP collection would probably be like a decent 5, but also like this was like 90 minutes of Weezer that I had to listen to back to back to back. It's a shame that someone's forcing me to do this.
Everything will be alright in the end.
Number 8, I gotta go with 2014's Everything Will Be Alright in the End, which I kind of have No, I love this thing. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, and especially towards the first half of the record, it is a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Like, Ain't Got Nobody is just kind of an alright intro. Lonely Girl is like I said with the Red album, I don't really care about other people's vocals on a Weezer album, so Go Away just kind of does nothing for me, especially with it being kind of just a generic love song, like kind of like or dysfunctional love song, I mean. But I mean, the rest of this record is pretty damn solid, and especially when I was listening to this whole set of albums just back to back to back to back to back, with this one being like a pretty fucking bright spot right after the nightmares of Ratitude. Like, not directly after it, there was a couple albums in between, but I mean, I'm still recovering from Ratitude. Cleopatra and Da Vinci and Eulogy for a Rock Band and Back to the Shack and I've Had It Up to Here. These are genuinely some great fucking songs. Weezer came through with some bangers. And then the Futurescope trilogy that cuts off this record, fantastic. One of the best things Weezer has put on a record. I kind of wish it was just tied up into one song though, because as it is, there's really no point in saving any of the songs individually. But I mean, that's also just an issue with streaming in the modern day. So Weezer 1, me 0. Also, sitting my ass back down to say Foolish Father is a great fucking song, and the Quick Kids chorus near the end, the whole structure of how it comes in and everything, genuinely beautiful. One of the best things Weezer has put on any record, period.
I need some of that. It's just what I need.
This is currently their last studio album. It's not going to be the last one they put out, probably, but as of right now, it's their most recent from 2021, which is kind of insane. Where the fuck have Weezer been? It's 2026. Please don't tell me you're God, Rivers. And I kind of had low expectations for this record going into it. One of my friends told me this is one of the worst Weezer records, but I actually quite enjoyed this one. Like, Hero is a pretty alright song, feeling kind of cheesy with the I Walk Alone. The last couple tracks on this record, like She Needs Me and Blue Dream, are kind of just alright. But I mean, there's way more hits on here than there are misses for me. Weezer trying to embrace the more heavy hard rockisms of their influences, like Van Halen on this record, actually pay off kind of well. Whether it's the hard-ass riffs on End of the Game, the super catchy choruses on Beginning of the End, or the great, just multi-tracked harmonies all over. I need some of that. This album is just pure fun from front to back, in my opinion. And then closing out this hard rock inspired record with an acoustic track, Precious Metal Girl. Sure, maybe lyrically it can be a little cringe, but I mean, what Weezer record doesn't suffer from a little bit of cringe? And the general sentiment of feeling all lovey-dovey for your precious metal girl is genuinely kind of sweet. It's like, ah. Yeah, I liked this album a lot more than I thought I would. Oh no. Hurley has such a dumb, warm cover to it, and the record feels just kind of like bliss. Like, sure, it's not perfect. Smart Girls on the back end sucks, and there's a couple tracks towards the back end that I think are just kind of but I mean, the majority of this record is pretty fucking solid, and Memories in general just deserves it to be up this high. If I'm being honest, I don't remember why I placed this record so high. I'd probably put Van Weezer above this, but I mean, I am tired, and I've been working on this project for a couple weeks now. So I guess Team Hurley. This record's pretty good. I don't know what I'm talking about. Now we're in the top 5, and I gotta put their 2002 record Maladroit, which is really one of the last records before they went off into their horrible mid to late 2000s nightmarish pop transitional phase, which really spawned one of their worst records ever, Ratitude. And yeah, this record's pretty fucking great, and I really wish that they would have continued doing stuff in this vein. I mean, it's not too far removed from what they were doing on the Blue album Pinkerton, but for some reason this record feels a lot more along the lines of something that Green Day would be doing. Like, this record at points feels almost like a Green Day ripoff band. And don't get me wrong, they're really good at ripping off Green Day. They put some powerful fucking riffs and some great fucking performances and sticky choruses all over this thing. But yeah, unlike a lot of records up to this point, it's not really a weak link in the chain here, and I think it's just some damn good fucking power pop from Weezer. It's not a record I return to all that much because they have other stuff that we're going to talk about here in a second that I just personally get a bit more out of emotionally. But yeah, if you enjoy Weezer at their simplest, most punchiest, this record is definitely going to be for you. It's some great shit they got here. Number 4, their sophomore record, Pinkerton. Now, if I'm gonna get flack for any spot on this list, I think it might be this one the most because I don't have Pinkerton at number 1 or 2, but I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I love this thing. The only track I really take a lot of issue with is Across the Sea, and it's just because the lyrics on that one are so gross that they genuinely make me uncomfortable. You are a 17-year-old girl from small city in Japan. Yeah, starting off a song with that, I'm not really going to want to re-listen to this one that much. A lot of this record is pretty hyper-focused on Rivers' like obsession with the opposite sex and romance and not having sex or having too much sex, or specifically hyper-fixating on this, like a letter that he got from a 17-year-old Japanese fan, or 18. Yeah, I think it was 18. Still, the hyperfixation on this one specific thing genuinely gets a little bit tiring by the end of it. Emotionally, that is, because songwriting-wise, this is still Weezer, like, at their peak. Whether it's the hard-ass riffs on Get You, the weird guitarisms on El Scorcho that I genuinely love and just get more out of every time I listen to, or the catchy-ass lyric on Pink Trial of, I'm dumb, she's a lesbian. Like, that song, it's so stupid, but I love it so fucking much. This record is Weezer at their most emo, and I can't help but love this. If you love the Blue Album or really any other Weezer record and you want to hear them at their most emotionally raw and also kind of at their most sonically raw, because this thing was produced by them and therefore comes out a bit more rough and around the edges. Like, this one sounds more like a debut than their debut does. Then obviously listen to this record if you know about Weezer and you've listened to Weezer but you've not listened to Pinkerton. Why are you stupid?
Girl, we got a good thing. You know where this is heading.
We've got the wind in our sail. I fucking love the White Album so much. Like, specifically Wind in Our Sail and Girl, We Got a Good Thing. These two songs are absolutely fucking magic and will not leave my head since I have first heard them. Like, when I first heard Girl, We Got a Good Thing, I legit almost started crying because I love the Beach Boys so much. Comment if you want me to do a Beach Boys discography ranking. Although it won't happen until my next discography ranking, which will not be done for a good long while. And this song is so goddamn Beach Boys influenced that it damn near borders on copyright infringement, I would say. Or at least spiritual copyright infringement. This album is just summer bop after summer bop after summer bop, and there's not a goddamn weak link in the chain here. I mean, I guess I would say I'm not crazy about the chorus of Jacked Up. I still enjoy that song, and I still enjoy everything around it, and I still enjoy the fun summery instrumentation. This album is almost even simpler than the Blue Album in its presentation and its structuring, that it almost feels like scientifically put down. Like, it's so precise, so catchy, and so pristinely engineered that it feels like this record was made in a lab, and I love this thing so much for that. Do the lyrics sometimes kind of not make that much sense? Yeah. Do I give a shit? No. This is easily one of Weezer's best batches of songs with nothing but bops and zero flops, and I can't help but love this a whole lot.
God, what's happening to me? Walking down Montana.
Number 2 on this list, I gotta give it to the 2021 record, OK Orchestra, which, don't get me wrong, I expected to like, but I did not expect to love it as much as I do. Like, this album basically is not a Weezer record. It feels a whole lot more akin to, like, a Vampire Weekend record, which I know, me deriding a couple other Weezer albums for not sounding like Weezer albums kind of invalidates my whole argument. but it just works so well. I don't know what it is, but something about Rivers' voice just fits so well over orchestration. It's not funny. Not to mention, aside from Pinkerton, I'd say this album is one of the most emotionally personal as well. Going pretty in depth on his feelings about isolation, feeling critiqued, not living up to your own standards, depression. Some of it can be a bit on the surface, like all my favorite songs are slow and sad, or the literary references on Grapes of Wrath being kind of basic. But in my opinion, the lyrics are substantial enough that these light critiques really only matter if you're analyzing it on like a literary level, which is not what we're doing here. This is a music review, ma'am, and we're going to be reviewing the music, which is blissful, it's fun, it's bouncy, and at times kind of emotionally cutting, like numbers are out to get you, numbers are out to get you, I'm just a bird with a broken ring, everyone stares at the screen. Like, god damn, there are so many choruses on here that are just absolutely phenomenal. And like the last minute or 30 seconds or whatever of Alu Gobi, it's great. I love it so much. The way that the drums come out and it's just the strings and Rivers' voice for a second of oh my god, what's happening to me? Like, it's so goddamn sticky. It just has the sort of bounce that I fucking love. Yeah, this album is like Vampire Weekend if they were even fucking nerdier, and I can't help but love it to death. I love this record so goddamn much. It is incredible. But I mean, we all know what number one is. Do I really even need to say? Weezer's 1994 debut self-titled album, colloquially called the Blue Album, is one of the best pop albums of all time, or pop rock records. I don't really know the difference. Yeah, every chorus on here is masterfully structured. The recording on here is nice and pristine. Like, it's a little bit rough around the edges because that's just kind of the grungy alt rock sound they were going for, but the playing on it is super tight and the production on it is super goddamn clean and pristine for the time. That yeah, I genuinely do not have a single problem with a single song here. I used to shit on Buddy Holly because I only knew the Weezer riff, and I would sometimes hear it in like a hair salon. But no, this is genuinely one of the best pop rock tunes of all time. It's super fucking catchy. It's emotionally pretty sweet as well. Speaking of emotions on this record, Say It Ain't So and Undone are some of the most emotionally cutting songs that they've put together ever. But yeah, in my mind, the real crown jewels are the super catchy choruses, the non-stop fun riffs, and the epic, amazing goddamn guitar solos all over this thing, on Surf Wax America, on No One Else, on My Name Is Jonas, the last like minute or two of Only in Dreams. Which, by the way, looking at Album of the Year right now, I just now realized it's 8 minutes long. I've never noticed the length of this song. Really, I've never even noticed that this album is 40 minutes long. Like, holy shit, this thing just flies by. In the Garage is kind of like an earlier version of Playing My Piano, which was on OK Orchestra. Kind of finding that little connection there with 1 and 2. But In the Garage is literally just about all the like fun, nerdy things that make you happy. Kind of like playing the piano is kind of like getting absorbed in making music and things that make you happy. Yeah, this record is pretty simple and it's pretty great. What you see is what you get, and what you see is pretty great. There's literally nothing else to say about the album. Like, sure, are the sexual politics on No One Else a little bit cringe, I guess? I want a girl who will laugh for no one else. When I'm away, she puts her makeup on the shelf. Like, sure, I guess it's not the best, but I mean, if we're talking about nerdy white boys in the 90s having weird sexual politics, I don't think Rivers Cuomo is one of the worst ones you could go with. This record is a little emotionally immature, I guess, but with this being a debut album, Weezer is essentially still a budding act here. But while being a budding act, they also managed to put out one of the best rock records, like, ever. Here, no question. It's just dudes writing sick tunes, and I love these sick tunes. And so yeah, that was Weezer's discography. So much material here. So much of it that I'm never gonna return to again because it's kind of really bad. And then so much of it that I'm also going to return to a lot, and have been returning to a lot and listening to nonstop because it's really good. Weezer is one of the bands of all time, and that's pretty much all I have to say. Bye.